All right, welcome back to the Homestand Show. We go from Alicia Newman to Nora Zainab, back to us three.
Yeah. What a lucky audience, huh?
Crashing right back down to earth with us three.
Yeah.
Time to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and time to talk about the goaltending controversy, which James, I know, loves so much. I'm looking at the rundown here. What did I put in? Is it time to start buying in on Matt Murray, James?
Is it time? I've been doing it for months now.
I'm going to ask you after every game.
I know you are. I said even 2 weeks ago when this first returned,
Yes.
since the injury, of course,
Yes.
I said that if it comes down to both these two goaltenders, Samsonov.
Samsonov, yeah.
Change
Samsonov.
each month.
Throw all the time you've been watching hockey. Any Samsonov. Samsonov.
Yeah.
Have you heard Samsonov?
No.
Okay.
Not
So
once.
it's Samsonov.
It's Samsonov. But since the last 2 weeks, I've been saying that if they are both getting equal play down the stretch, which I think they both will, and they're both playing okay, I think Murray gets a start in game one, just because of the CV, and just because they've invested so much as a front office on this guy. I'm not saying it's the right choice.
Yeah.
And it could well be Samsonov by the end of the series. But to start with, and it's a huge if he stays healthy, and that's yet to be proven that he can do that for a prolonged stretch, Matt Murray will be the number one goaltender for the Leafs entering the playoffs.
Every time he
That's what I
goes
said.
down, I'm assuming, like, oh, he's hurt again. Like
Yeah.
last night he went down, it was Kachuk who kind of bumped into him. He kind of flopped down. I'm like,
Is
he hurt?
He's a good at the theatrics, Matt Murray. Knocking the net off and stuff.
What they call that in football, the dark arts.
Yeah.
Dark arts,
I love that
exactly,
stuff. You got to use it.
Buy some time, right?
Exactly.
Brad
but-
Marchand, the king of the dark
yeah,
arts.
he definitely
Okay,
is.
so you buying in on Murray?
No,
You're
because-
really against Murray.
I'm not against him. I just think, like, look, this was his first good game in a very long time.
Well, he was
48
good
saves
against
on the
Ottawa.
weekend.
Yeah, still
He
let
was
in.
good
His
against
goals
Ottawa.
against average for the month of March. I'm talking just numbers here. This goals against average of the month of March is 3.6.
Right.
That's not going to
Well,
win
Sheldon
you
Keefe said, he goes, I know the numbers aren't great to look at, but he's been great.
He's got an
underlying
892,
numbers, so the
892
eye
save
test.
percentage.
Yeah,
right?
it's the eye test versus the analytics, right? I mean, last night, if you watched him, he looked pretty good.
He
He
did.
made saves when he needed to. He kept them in the game.
Look, I just think you got to go with what I just don't have. I have no confidence in
Right.
Matt Murray because
Yeah.
it's been so long since he's been that dominant number one goalie.
You know, it's completely understandable, right? When you have a goalie who hasn't been at his best for a very long time,
Yeah.
he's injury prone.
But he's been a dominant number one goalie since Samsonov, because he's never been a dominant number one goalie. And again,
That's true.
I'm not ripping
Right.
Samsonov. I think he's a really good. He's had a good season, some pretty decent numbers, and he probably deserves, through the work of his body of work so far, to be that number one. But I'm saying right now, because I mean, listen, this is what, how many games left?
There's what
about
10
10
games
games
left, or
left,
whatever
yeah.
it is. So I think they'll probably split it down the middle, 5 each.
Mhm.
Although Samsonov's right now at home.
Yeah,
is
so
well set
Murray
up,
might get a little bit of a
Yeah.
run here.
Right. Or it could be Joseph Wall. Getting a game.
Yeah,
Double
maybe.
ender,
You
right,
never
double
know.
ender,
It
back to
could-
back on the weekend.
I
right?
think like the old adage though is like if you have two number one goalies, you don't have a number one goalie, right? And the Toronto Maple Leafs have
I hate hearing that.
why? It's true.
Everybody says it.
You need to have a number one goalie. Look at every team that's won the Stanley
Yeah.
Cup.
But
They have a
sometimes-
number one goalie.
No, totally. But
well, not when Murray won.
outside-
Fleury is in
No,
the
but Matt
playoffs.
Murray was
essentially outside of Vasilevsky, no team goes to the playoffs with just one goalie. Even Colorado.
But they had a established number one goalie throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, you have
though.
an established
Who
number
was,
one.
by the way, extremely average.
He
Yeah,
was.
which I do believe. I think whoever gets the first start in the playoffs, that will be the quote unquote number one guy until that guy loses the
until
job.
game 2.
So I'm just saying, if it's Murray or Samsonov and they play really well, then maybe you only need the other goalie for 3 or 4 games.
I still think you need that stability because you're building your I've lost what
The
I'm trying to
producer
say.
just, by the way, we're
Producer
laughing because the
just
producer
threw me
Sean
off.
told me to stop playing with my ring. I don't know.
Not the first time you
That-
heard it today.
Exactly.
When I'm getting into a serious conversation, I
Yeah.
like to play with my
I'm
ring.
trying to break down like
You're
the
a
Leafs.
fiddler.
Yeah, I'm a fiddler. Yeah,
Yeah, Vernon Fiddler. Shout out to
Vernon Fiddler.
remember he used to play in the NHL.
Oh, what a show! He played for the Preds. didn't
Yeah,
he?
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Bernard Fiddler?
Vernon Fiddler.
Vernon Fiddler.
Yeah.
I know Mike Vernon. Ex-Flames.
Vernon Fiddler.
We're going down
Vernon
to certain
Fiddler,
route here.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
been one of those
Anyway,
days.
Sorry. go
When
ahead.
it comes to the playoffs, right? Then you need a guy. You're building your team from the net forward, right? You need to
Right.
have the strongest position in the net. And right now, the Leafs have no stability there. And I think they need to find that in the next 10 games before they go to the playoffs if they want to have confidence going forward. And I just think you need it. It might sound crazy, but you need it.
Well, they found a strong starter in Samsonov. And if Matt Murray, which he's getting healthy now you got a good number 2. Now you got a 1-2 punch. But I'm just saying, it's not like Samsonov has been horrible all season. He's been
hasn't been.
a top goalie.
He should be the game one starter.
At home, at least. Yeah,
The away numbers
He
aren't
put
great.
the Leafs in this position. Obviously, their scoring has helped, and they've built a pretty good decor. Why are you smiling?
Whatever that
I'm still
decor
laughing
is.
at
No,
Vern
I'm just saying.
reference.
This conversation will go on and on in terms of goalies or not.
And the thing is, regardless, it's kind of irrelevant because there's no way, even if Matt Murray is the number 1, that he'll be able to play the entire playoff
Exactly.
without getting
Yeah.
hurt. You're playing every other day.
This
pretty
stretch,
much,
this
right?
stretch of games is so important to him.
It's enormous.
Samsonov can come in and do what he's got to do because he's done it so far all season. For Murray, he's got to have a run. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to win some games. Sheldon Keefe actually talked about Murray's performance after that Panthers game.
Yeah, I thought he looked great. Our guys did a really good job in front of him. I think that's important. I mean, that's a very, very dynamic offensive team that we played against and really limited their opportunities. But anything that did kind of break free or look dangerous, he made it look easy. So, really like that. I mean, obviously, even the first one that they get, it goes in, but not really because he stays with it, he tracks it, and he's there. So, he looked really good.
Keefe's always talking highly about Murray.
Yeah, of course, he has to, right? He can't say, man, he was crap.
Yeah,
Can he?
hasn't been good.
10 games left, right?
Right.
I mean, listen,
could,
he's on 4.6 a year, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason why he got that contract. I know it's a bit of a surprise in the Sens gave it to him. The more about how long it was as opposed to how much per year. But there's a reason he is a pedigree goaltender who's playing okay. Now, yeah, I agree. But, I mean, listen, save percentage isn't what it once was.
No.
Right? It's quality of chances. Mr. Analytics over here
yes,
now.
yes,
Getting,
Mr.
Yeah, there you go.
Analytics.
And the thing is, too, you're not putting him behind a bad team. You're putting
No.
him behind one of the best teams in the league.
Mhm.
That'll help his performances, too, and that's why it's helped Samsonov. Speaking of one of the best teams in front of him, Auston Matthews. He's trying to find his way a little bit, right? He's getting
Heating
hot
up.
at the right time. When he took that shot in the pills
terrified.
and they said it was his wrists, I'm like, oh,
I know.
are you
It's
serious?
the first time I've
Right
gone,
now?
oh, thank God it was his balls.
I think he probably said the
First time
same
I ever
thing.
said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, yep. And you felt for the guy, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we've all been through that. Not with a puck, maybe. Maybe you guys have.
Yeah.
I believe it or not, I'm not a hockey player.
I took one in the eye. I think I'm
Yeah, I
scarred
think
with it.
I'd rather in the eye than in the.
in the pills.
Yeah,
Crown
no,
jewels
thank God
and the
for
Albert Battalions.
protective cups. Thank God.
Yeah. I have a story
Yeah.
about this one time I thought I was wearing a cup, but it wasn't a cup. It was actually a Jill.
It was a what?
A Jill. So females were wearing
Are you serious?
swear to God.
You didn't realize?
I didn't realize.
What does that say about you?
I was in the locker room, and I'm like, sorry, I'm gonna knock on the desk. I'm sorry. I was knocking on it, and I'm like, man, I was telling my buddy, I'm like, if I get hit by a puck, this is gonna kill. He's like, what? And I pulled it out. He's like, that's a Jill. I'm like, oh my God.
I didn't even know
Wow.
there was a thing called a Jill.
Yeah, it's called a Jill.
Really?
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's
Is it
actually
different- must
called
be
a
different
Jill.
shape?
It's like flat, like a pizza almost with a curve.
It must be much smaller. Yet you still didn't realize.
No, isn't that ridiculous?
Yes.
If I-
There's a lot of ridiculousness to this conversation right now. Wow, really?
Yeah.
And you're married?
I'm married. Yeah. I still have it, by the way. No, I don't. No, I don't. It's crazy.
Can you bring
Wow.
it in?
Let's start with Auston Matthews. I bet he
Yes.
doesn't wear a Jill because he took one. He'd be out for a while if he was
yeah.
wearing a Jill. 6 goals in 8 games, 34 goals this season. He's just 2 behind Willie, who's having a career year.
Again,
Willie.
the theme. Yeah, you're right. It's incredible, isn't it? 34 goals on an off year.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's one of those days. It's a Friday. This is why you have Roundtable Fridays.
Yes.
Right? We should drink though after the show next time.
Yes.
Is he
Not
back?
Before. Is he back? Is he back? I don't know. I mean, listen, last year was so obscene, his numbers.
Mm-hmm.
That was beyond just a little slump this year. I mean, this is still a very good year, of course. We discussed could be reasons for that. We don't know what it is. But if he is getting back, what great timing.
Best timing ever.
Best timing ever, right? He's
you
missed
could
a
have.
few games as well. He's going to be healthy. He's going to be
Mhm.
fresh, so we think. That could be the most important storyline to watch, I think, down the stretch run, how Matthews is playing, because they'll succeed or fail, I think, on his back more than any other player, including Matt Murray.
Okay. I to echo every sentiment James said. This is the best time of year for Auston Matthews picking it up and finding his game. That's crazy too. He's projected to get about 40 goals this year, and that's considered a down year.
That's an off year.
It's an off year, right? Now, 60 goals he had last year, amazing, MVP. that was a once in a lifetime type of season. I don't think anybody expected Auston Matthews to score 60 again. But if this guy,
You don't think so?
I think he can get
I don't know
there.
if it's so hard to score 60.
Yeah.
We're
But
seeing
before the season, we were-
McDavid, right?
Before this season,
Yeah.
people were saying, can he hit 70?
Again, I think that's prisoner of the moment, though, right? If you look at his shooting percentages from last year, they were so absurd, right? He was gonna fall back to the mean. And again, if he's gonna be a consistent 40 to 50 goal scorer every year, he's one of the best goal scorers. But it's in the playoffs, and I think this is great for Leaf fans because he's finding his game right when we're turning the calendar to April, and that's when you need him the most.
Yeah, and he's starting to shoot a lot more. 57 shots in his last 12 games.
Good sign.
One thing that's kind of helping him is Calle Jarnkrok on his line. 6 points in 6 games. He joined the top line in that Colorado game and hasn't looked back since. And Sheldon Keefe and Auston Matthews both rave about him. Here's Keefe after that game last night.
He's in a spot to shoot and score. He's going to shoot and score, so you like that. But his game is so efficient. Like, he forechecks, he tracks, he's good in defensive zone walls. He works, he plays a smart game. So one of the things that sometimes you don't think about is that if you're going to play with Auston and Mitch, you're going to get really difficult matchups. So it's not just about being able to make a play or to score or produce. You've got to be able to defend and play against the other team's best people. And Jarny does that for us no matter where he's in the lineup. So it makes sense to me that he's done a good job in that place.
17 goals, right?
Do you think
On the
it's his
season.
spot to lose now in the top line? Is that his, or does Bunting go back there at the beginning of the
I
playoffs?
still have a feeling that once game 1 comes around, Bunting would be back there to start with
I
anyway.
feel like Keefe has something against Bunting. Am I wrong by saying that? Is that
I think you can't trust him because
Right.
he takes too many
He
penalties.
does, and he's a bit of that loose cannon, right?
he's worked so well in that first line
He
for so
has,
long.
but Jarnkrok has been playing really well, and I think. But to me, the biggest domino is the O'Reilly factor. Wherever he slots on the lineup is gonna shift everything
But
else.
that's not going to affect that first line.
It could, right? Depending on how they juggle things around, right?
Marner's staying with Matthews.
I think so, yeah.
Think?
Right?
You know,
Yeah.
they want to reunite that Ontario
Marner
line?
11-0-1 when they both score in a game. Like those two together are magic.
Well, he and Nylander weren't jiving towards the end.
No,
Yeah.
so let's say Matthews and Marner lock up that top line. I'm going to go probably Jarnkrok at the top line. And
We should figure out how to
should
pronounce
figure
it.
I hear
first,
Krok
'cause
and Krok.
I know, me
Yeah.
too, all the time. Jan Crew, I heard yesterday in a
Crew?
podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
Jan Crew.
Oh, we're getting really
Young
far out
crew.
here. So that's the first line. Second line, the second and third. Where does O'Reilly go? I really like O'Reilly in the middle with Tavares on the wing because of how we saw Tavares score those goals.
We'll see him at both, won't we? Be it home or away.
Probably,
Could be
yeah.
very different.
There's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be a bunch of line adjustments sort of first round playoff series anyway.
Yeah.
I could see Sheldon keep juggling them mid game, right? I think this lineup there's so many pieces that are interchangeable in this lineup, and I think that could be a blessing for the Leafs because they can switch things on the fly. If something's not working, quick change, find some
Yeah.
instant chemistry elsewhere, which could work very well for the Leafs come playoff time.
We, as sports reporters, fans, waste way too much time looking at formations
Yes.
and
I love
pairings
it,
and
though.
lines, be it no matter what the sport. We do it in soccer all the time.
Mm.
Oh, they're 4-4-2, 4-3-3. Doesn't matter. It changes
Yeah.
with or without the ball throughout the game. Same with hockey. These lines,
fluid.
he's a line masher. That's what Keith is.
Yeah.
Always
He is.
has been, right?
And now he has the depth to actually do
He
it.
can do it, yeah.
Right.
And maybe it'll be Jan Krog. Maybe it'll be him. He's got 17 goals in the season, right?
Yeah.
He can, he's
Having a
pretty,
career year.
I wouldn't say he's surly, but he can handle some punishment
Yeah.
in the dirty areas of the ice. So I think, yeah, like you said, it's depth, and it just affords the Leafs many more options compared to this time last year.
Yeah, no, I like it. I love the fact that you can put a guy on that line and he doesn't miss a beat.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the Leafs. There's a really good team there. Whether or not they go on to win the Stanley Cup, that's a whole nother. I can't even imagine. I don't even
Not
want
long
to
now, but
put
we'll
those.
be just agonizing.
I
over
know.
it.
Coming up after the break, I want to pose a question to you guys
Mm-hmm.
on Connor McDavid. There's a bet associated with it as
Okay.
well. If he's going to score 70 goals or not. 12 games left. Coming up after the break, we'll talk about that. Plus, I think I got a video for you guys as well. So stay tuned for that.